Hello, and welcome to my Fire Emblem 9 Path of Radiance 100% gross low turn count playthrough. I'm your host Typhoon Carter. Today I'm joined by a co-host in VisciousSal. You might know him for having done some Radiant Dawn hacking. It is the man himself.
Yeah, glad to be here. Quite out of my comfort zone, but still really curious to see what's going to happen this map. And let's get into it.
Yeah, so here we got by a Thunder Tome for Soren, as we're going to need him to grind up his Thunder rank for bolting later on.
And I see you're also making an Iron Forge for, I assume, Oscar, or Marcia, sorry.
Yeah, it's for Marcia. Oscar already did have a previous forge that we made for him in Chapter 8. But this forge, it's more so in case if we need to crit somebody, it's going to be handy.
Yeah, but you tend not to rely on those, so in the end it's not going to matter.
At least for now. At least for now anyways. And Marcia, she joined us last chapter. We have to give her some bonus XP so that she can hit some benchmarks. At least down the line, so that her stats can hold up. More so.
Yeah, but you're not going to use all the comp or all the bonus experience since there's quite a bit of fighting to do since you're not going to use the stealth mode of this chapter because there's two variations of how you can clear this chapter.
Yeah, the stealth approach, while it does net a lot of bonus experience, which we would like, the main thing is just that it just simply takes too long because we have to go fast here, and we're kind of pressed as far as turns go.
Yeah, there's like a 10 turn difference between both. Like it takes 13 turns to complete it on stealth mode, whereas it only takes 10 turns or 3 turns on the low turn count.
Yeah. Although in Maniac mode that gap is a little bit smaller because the prisoners will also have to escape with the player. Or rather, it's not as big. And here, in Preps, we end up getting a new unit. It's Volk, who is the first thief that joins us. He has very good bases, and he does have a scripted promotion later down the line, but it doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things. The downside is that Volk is locked to a pretty crappy weapon type in knives.
Yeah, knives give 1 or 2 might, and the best knife has 8 might with armor effectiveness, but that's only ×2 in this game, so it's still atrocious.
Yeah. Now here we have to shove and smite Titania a good bit because she's going to be the closest one to the exit, or rather the one that we need to be as close to the exit point as possible.
And of course Oscar is going to take Ike because we need him to move as quickly as we can as well. Yep. And you'll see some really cool give strats with dropping and escaping with Ike later on.
Yeah. Now here, because we went loud and proud more or less, there are going to be reinforcements that actually are same turn reinforcements, which is a very rare occurrence in this game, and there's only like one other instance where any reinforcement of any type happens to move on the same turn they spawn on.
And here we have, of course, since everyone's alerted, pretty much all units turn aggressive. Luckily Mordecai is really amazing with sponging up hits.
Yeah. The good thing is that the boss of this chapter actually does not move unless you get in range, and some enemies are like that too. Although some enemies are completely stationary, such as the Halberdier that's blocking the exit, who we will need to kill, so that's why Soren's being ferried along.
Yeah, Soren has had a real glow up since previous chapter, and he's an absolute monster. He's going to take on a pretty big enemy phase pretty soon. But before we get to that, we of course have Volk and Marcia going towards the cells to open them so we can recruit the 3 characters.
Yeah, so some of the prison, or rather some of the enemies, basically drop keys and one of them Marcia will take, and the other we have Volk deployed here for the purposes of opening one of those doors. It should be noted that anytime you open a chest or a door with Volk, it costs 50 gold in order to perform that action with him. But money, at least in localized Path of Radiance, is not really going to be an issue.
No, not at all. It's funny even because a chest key is actually worth more than 50 gold per use, so using him is still cheaper than using a chest key that you could have theoretically sold.
Yeah. And here, Marcia, we need her to move. We need her to move as close to where Brom and Kieran are held up.
Yeah, and she's strong enough. The crit wouldn't really have mattered. There's backup plans with Lethe that could have taken a kill on the next turn. So she never would have been in any issue of reaching the door.
Yeah. However, Lethe here is going to shove Volk, just so that we can make sure that Volk is able to reach Nethany's cell.
Yeah, and sadly we're going to skip all the chests, and of course the boss who drops a Master Seal if you kill him. But such is life in the... Yeah, in the such is life in the low turn count category.
Yeah, although it should be noted that there actually aren't that many Master Seals to begin with, as there's only like 4 or 5, and only 2 of them show up reasonably early enough, with this being one of them.
Yeah, and with bonus experience going through the roof pretty quickly, where you can drop it on the units you really need, it's not going to really matter all that much.
Yeah, the only ones who will probably appreciate it is our staffers, as they don't really get enough EXP from staff spamming, and it's not something they can do every turn. Ideally, if we weren't so hard pressed for turns, I would have preferred to have Soren like using any sort of staves for healing, but alas, we need him to fight.
Yeah, and here you can see him going to town. He's building his Thunder rank so he can use bolting in a later chapter, as you previously mentioned. Yep. And a lot of the enemies are going to target Titania and him, but you can see the last few stationary enemies in the north, which will be dealt with on the following turn. The boss, the guard at least.
Yeah, the boss here, this is one of the handful of bosses who can actually be outright skipped, or rather not killed.
And on the final turn,
we're just breaking out all the prisoners, or rather just opening the door so that they can get out off screen.
Yeah, totally fine, don't need to leave them here. Going to quickly grab some last XP with Boyd in just a moment, and Oscar is going to give Ike to Titania so they can escape together.
Yeah, and we gotta make sure this Halberdier is taken care of, as they are just basically blocking us. And we could have attacked the Armor Knight too, but since the Halberdier is a promoted enemy type, we want a little bit more experience, because Soren's rescue range in a later chapter is also going to be very relevant.
That pretty much takes care of the map. Well, Boyd to get some quick last EXP.
Yeah, here when I was playing it, I was kind of thinking, oh geez, who am I gonna kill here? But here, some of the mercenaries, or rather myrmidons, weigh themselves down. But yeah, we're just gonna be up and out of here.
And that's the map.
Yep, that is chapter 10 cleared in 3 turns. I'll see you guys next time for chapter 11.